morning, everyone. Good morning. Happy Saturday. It is your host, Corey Franklin, and my co-host in this esteemed colleague, Nicole Cooper. Don't ask for James; he's not here today, so we're taking over. We're just gonna take over the whole channel for today. Give you guys some good information, have fun as we normally do, right? So on today, we just want to go through some tax-related, tax season topics, right? And just kind of give you guys, the season, what the season brings in terms of concerns and issues, and just give you some bullet points. And we do have our expert opinion here on the call as well. So we're going to be throwing some topics, throwing some ideas, answering some questions as well. So I'd like to introduce Nicole Cooper. Nicole, welcome to co-hosting with me for today. And please introduce yourself. I think you're muted. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. There we go. That was quick because usually James and I have some challenges with the audio and tech, and we go through about maybe 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 minutes of that stuff. So you're under like 20 seconds. That's really good.
Awesome.
All
Great.
right.
It's like I'm working on being an expert on things, but I will say this. My name is Nicole Cooper. I am I have many titles here with CPA, but one of them I do know is I am a trusted source here as far as working directly with our client support team, as well as handling our tax clients and accounting clients. A little bit of my back history is I worked in corporate accounting now for about close to 30 years. I've been working in this field for about 15 or 20 that was in corporate, and the remainder I pretty much have been contracting, and now I find myself, I've been here at Hayward CPA now for quite some time. And so
Nice.
I'm honored to be on the broadcast today.
Nice. Well, this won't be your only time. We'll hop and get you back in throughout our
Right.
season of adventures, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, listen, I mean, again, just opening up to a little bit more about our team and our collective and how we do things. Again, this is Saturday talk, right? So what we try to do is no scripting here. We just try to keep it simple for everyone in the world, especially the ones that are listening, right? That do
Right.
come back and watch our videos, and hopefully our information is very helpful for you. This gives us the opportunity to kind of blow off some of that Monday through Friday tax season heavy lifting that we do, right? So I guess we could kind of just touch on what I like to do, Nicole, is just kind of give like an overview of some of the tax season. What's the heat, the heat, the concerns, the anxiety, the angst, like what is tax season essentially?
Well, mostly I would have to say it's not something that people look forward to. I think that the expectation, well, let me just get this over with. And one of the main things is, am I going to owe anything? Am I going to owe? Am I going to break even? And it's like, most just trying to get through that part of it. I would have to say the anxiety would have to be a many of things. If you're uncertain about where you stand as far as your tax status, as far as just trying to figure out just what your outcome is going to be. And that's always on someone's mind. And you think about that because I heard you guys speak on the podcast. But the thing is, what we try to encourage the clients is to let go of the anxiety if possible, because when you come to a professional, it's our job to pretty much take on that, alleviate you from the pain, alleviate you from your question,
Right.
You know, that's why people come to a professional to be able to handle that on your behalf, because we should hold the solutions to your problems and make it at ease so that you feel like, oh gosh, I've finally given this over to someone to help handle that, or to help assist the person. So the anxiety comes into play if someone's out there trying to tackle this on their own. That's part of the anxiety. If they've been doing preparing their tax returns, then they're pretty much open to that and they know what they're doing. Right now, what's going on? It's a lot of tax laws that are changing. It's a lot of things that have been, you know, with the assistance of the COVID-19, different type of bills that came through, and also looking at the fact that, you know, the economy and different things that people are taking into account, especially now with money not going as far as they will probably hope it would be. So anything that's coming up with finances, anything that's coming around along the lines you're talking about money, that's going to be a comfortable conversation, you know,
Absolutely.
but it's a necessary conversation, because
Right.
before, you know, even if it's not the outcome that you're looking for, at least you know where you stand.
Hmm.
At least you know where you are.
And
And
that's a
you
good
can
point that
plan
you
from
bring
this
up.
point going forward. So
Hmm.
I would have to say it's that, because no one looks forward to it. No one looks forward to dealing with what they say, the IRS, or dealing with that. But, you know, that's what we have. That's what we need to do. And I just think the expectation to alleviate a lot of the anxiety, that's where it's coming from.
Okay.
If you're dealing with that at first, because no, they're not looking, no one's looking forward to it, but we know it's something that we have to do. It's
Right.
required for us to file our taxes annually, and just prepare for it, you know, and make sure that you're doing that.
Nice, nice, nice. So to wrap, kind of put that a bow around it, I should say, is really just, as Nicole stated, understanding, right? Like understanding, it's about understanding where you are, irregardless of, and there's no need for the fear to kind of close you off from taking a step forward to learning about where you are, where you need to go.
Just
And
a minute, Corey. You getting a lot of feedback on the back
I
end?
am. Can you
Yeah,
hear me? Hold on a second. How's that?
it sounds like something crackling, something.
Does that sound better?
Just a little bit. You can keep going. Yeah.
Just a little bit. Okay.
All right.
I don't know what it is. It's probably all of the electric forces that are going through the computer and the microphone and the camera, right? Um,
Absolutely.
so
Okay.
yeah, so it's you know, the anxiety is there, but again, just understanding where you are, you know, asking the questions and then allowing a professional, because you know, one of the things that we go through during tax, well, all year round, not just tax season. I think most people think we're like
Hmm.
3 or 4 months in, and then we close the door and we go on our way, right? Not the
Right.
case. And as you mentioned, the tax codes do change, so it's a lot of looking at the tax codes, how it relates to each situation. And I think most people think, okay, well, if I fall into this bracket of this tax code, then I should be able to apply for this like everyone else. And that's not really the case. It's a there are standards, but then there's case by case. Would you agree?
Exactly. It is case by case. Everyone's situation is different. So a lot of times when you know, as far as you're talking about deductions, so to speak, you know, one of the main deductions I saw from last year was a lot of people, and then the information you're pulling from. You know what I mean? Because just because the information coming, oh, you should be able to deduct this from your business and do this from your business. And guess what? You will have no tax liability. Well, you know, it depends on each situation and what source of information you are receiving, and make sure you verify that, because a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times what we see is we have a lot of information out here, whether it's coming from the media and what people are actually informing people in these workshops and everything else. But you want to make sure that it actually does line up with the tax laws and what it applies to when it comes to you and your income and what you're actually reporting, because at the end of the day, you are responsible for what you are reporting. You know what I mean? And you have to make sure that you not just have documentation, but that you are actively, actually, if you're promoting and stating that you have a business, make sure that you are actually do have an active business. It's not a case of the IRS coming after anyone. It's a case of validation and whether or not you are able to validly prove whatever income and deductions you are reporting for that year. We as the tax professionals are going through everything that you have and trying to make sure that you are able, for what your particular tax situation is, to benefit the most off the deductions that you are able to take, validly. You know what
Hold
I
on,
mean?
hold on a second. Wait a minute. That's you just dropping a lot of jewels and gems. Does everyone have their notebooks ready? Does everyone have the notes app on their phone and taking notes? Take notes. This is real live information that we're giving you, and hopefully it can help. You know, we're into February 10th. We're still in the beginning phases of this epic time of the season, right? So go ahead, Nicole, continue. Hopefully everyone got their pen and paper now.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's about, when I'm talking about just very high level when it comes to businesses, Schedule C filers, in particular, just using as an example, do know that whatever deductions that you have, it depends upon the percentage of your activity with that business. And so what it is, one big thing that kept coming up was Section 179 and deduction of vehicles. And you have to understand that a lot of these, if you are actually active in your business and the vehicle that you're using is for your business, then do know that you can't state it's 100% deduction for a business and you have gone out here and purchased a Range Rover and you only participate probably about 50 or 40% of it. I'm not knocking what type of vehicle you're purchasing, but what I'm stating is you may receive some type of deduction, but make sure that whatever you're purchasing and whatever you're using is something valid and something that you're actually doing within the business that's benefiting your business.
Justifiable.
Not
Correct.
something that we're going and we're saying, oh, well, if you're buying luxury vehicles and your business has nothing to do with transportation, just make sure that, if this is a vehicle that you honestly purchased for yourself and you're using it for the business, then do know that if you are a W-2 wager earner and you have a business, there's no way that you're operating that business 100% of the time. You're going to be operating that business maybe 50% of the time or less, depending on what you are doing. And do know that you have to prove that. So in other words, if your expenses, you're not going to get 100% deduction from your business expenses. It's going to be based upon the percentage of business that you are actually actively participating in that business. And this is not knocking anyone about far as what you're doing, what you choose to purchase. It's just a matter of the validity. It's a matter of transparency. It's a matter of, we have to understand that the IRS is not, in my opinion, they're not targeting. It's just certain deductions and certain red hot items that's on the list. And depending upon your income for that year and what it is you're trying to deduct, do know, for example, if your business has been in operations for 3 years, and let's say you haven't really had any income and you've been taking a loss, do know at that point you have to examine whether or not this is still a valid business or whether this is a hobby. Because if you're just carrying just some expenses and some losses and then purchase a vehicle, and after about 3 or 5 years, you're going to have to really take into account whether or not you really do still have a valid business or whether you possibly need to pivot to something else or any other type of thing that you may necessarily consider, because that's what they're going to be looking at. What is your activity in this? Because I know everyone's looking for valid deductions and be able to take those deductions, rightfully so. But just make sure that we're first, number one, I would say, if you want to get rid of anxiety, number one, let's be honest with ourselves and what we're doing, because that will alleviate a whole lot. And we saw that with COVID-19 when we see all the articles that came out, because the IRS is going through every last one of those applications when people apply for that funding.
Mm-hmm.
And what are we finding? There are people who have EIN, still have active EIN numbers, but the businesses are not even active.
Correct.
So they went out and applied for this money. generated financials that are people who came out the woodwork saying, oh, we can help assist you apply for these applications and get the PPP loan. That's what it was, and everything else. And guess what? Those people who went and helped them apply for those applications are nowhere to be found.
Mm-hmm.
But your name is on it, your EIN name on it, and the deposit hits your bank account. And guess what? Over a certain amount, the IRS is going through. They may not be able to go through everyone, but those who were pinpointed, guess what? They're going to go back through that. And that the hardest part about that, Corey, would have to be, think about how many businesses are actually valid businesses, valid small businesses out here who are trying to survive through COVID-19 to now, who tried to apply for that funding, and because of the bad apples, guess what?
They didn't get it.
They didn't get it. Not only that, they flagged it, and then it's like people who validly need that funding, guess what? They're not able to get it. They're not able. They're having to, and there are legitimate businesses out here. And so the thing about it is it worth it? It's not worth it. It's not worth it at all. There's nothing that you're going to be able to apply for when it comes to SBA, when it comes to the IRS, coming anything, because they're going to go back and you're going to have to file your returns to validate your income, to validate all these things. So the main thing I would have to say, Corey, that also alleviates anxiety is we just have to have character and integrity about what we're doing. Whether you file your individual returns or whether you file your business return. Let's just report whatever income that you have. Report it. Report, whatever it is. And a lot of times we try to think ahead of what we can and cannot do. And I don't knock any of it. It's just that we have to make sure, ask the questions, ask us the questions, press us on those. We're totally here for it in order for us to validate or confirm the accuracy of what we're doing. But I think a lot of times, we're out here filing some things, and I know that the IRS is really gearing towards a pilot program right now that they actually have going, where you heard about them actually being able to offer an online system where some people will be able to go on and file their returns themselves. Also, keep in mind that that we have ideas about what we feel we should be doing and should not be reporting, or how it is. And I just honestly say, if it's a matter of getting the extra education that you need, it's valid. You can do that. The IRS offers workshops that are free, webinars all through the year, not just for us as tax professionals, but for taxpayers as well, to educate. I always tell people as well, they have local tax offices to be able to ask questions for the IRS agents that are local near you, as well as your state offices have state revenue people, agents there that are able to answer your questions. And I know it's not a matter of you call them and people think that you put a red light on yourself and think they're going to track you down with something. That's not what they do. I mean, it's just a matter of just making sure. And do know that if you do owe, that's the main thing about owing. If you owe, do know that the IRS will work with you. There are options as far as you paying back whatever. If you find that you do owe, do know that you have various plans that they will work with you on that. Do know.
So before you go any further there, before we get to that point, let's give them an action item. Let's give them something tangible, right? And so you said it in your commentary, but having the correct documentation, eliminating mathematical errors as possible when you have documentation. But most importantly, especially for business owners, is the number one thing that we always run into 90% of the time. And I think small business owners, solopreneurs think that they I manage it this way, or I have this information. This should be good enough. Get an accounting software. You don't have to be an accountant. You don't have to be an expert. Get an accounting software because it gives you different photographic lenses so you can see different things financially in your business, which helps you to validate your business. Are you really generating the revenue needed? Is it a viable business? How can you pivot based off of the type of revenue streams that you have coming in, right? And then you can work to leverage any unnecessary expenses or cut down on those expenses. So these are things that, it's a learned behavior, but it also helps to align to bring you back in focus. Now, that's not to say you're not going to run into any tax problems. And if you're not running into tax problems, you're not really doing business, right? But as Nicole stated, have it under control, understand, what you're working with, ask questions of the professionals that you're dealing with, and then realize that you have to move forward to take action on getting ahead of it or circling back and dealing with whatever options that are out there for you to rectify it. Trust me, I know, right? So, so just a little caveat of having a tangible system in place, and accounting software is highly recommended. Not necessarily not a big state.
Right.
We see a lot of those, right? Not
Yeah.
a spreadsheet. Then we have these third-party applications, right? Where like the Square or whatever. You can. That's good for categorization. It's good for when you run that report for revenue, but it's got to tie back into your accounting system so you can take a look, or you can have an idea of what your P&L is, what your balance sheet, what your cash flow is. 'Cause revenue generated and cash flow is two different things.
Right. And if I could just interject too, Corey, a great point you brought about information. This is a great time. It's pretty much the 10th of February, kicking off right into the tax season. And we know some people definitely early filers getting that information. I would say make sure you take the time and make sure as you're looking through your records, your tax paperwork, that you have all the documents that you need to report and make sure you have received them. If you know that your W-2 from your employer, if you are doing contract work, make sure you receive your 1099 NECs. If you know that you have been running business possibly through PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, and all of that, make sure that you have all that accountable as well. Just like Corey said, and also making sure you do take advantage of the online tax accounting software out there. It's very beneficial to you. Whatever's going to make your job easier is what you want to make sure that you're doing. That's tapping on the individuals, just making sure that you are reporting all the information you have to the table, because we do have a lot of people who are definitely investing with their stocks, and you're doing a lot of movement, especially people who have rental property. Making sure you have all of that information as well, and making sure that if you report anything from charitable contributions to whatever, making sure you have your current accurate documentations. I will also add that sometimes what I had seen last year was there were some W-2s that possibly was being corrected by the employer. So just make sure that you're able to you have the most current of your information. I would say I know you're able to probably get a soft copy electronically from them. I would say to go back and check that. My reasons for saying it for these W-2s, 1099s, and 1098s and all of this, as far as your mortgage interest and so forth and so on, is because those documents are filed electronically and information is reported directly to the IRS. So if there are any changes or corrections, then keep in mind that if you have filed your tax return and then all of a sudden you receive an updated tax form for that same year, then there needs to be an amended tax return that needs to be filed to account for that information that has now changed. Okay, because what will happen at that point is, let's say you received a W-2 and it was corrected, or any one of those forms, the IRS is going to go off the most recent information that they have received and the corrected information. So you may receive, and this is what brings a lot of anxiety to Corey, a notice in the mail from the IRS. Yeah, exactly. So it becomes, if no one wants to receive those, I say to you that look up the code. There's at the top right, it has a notice number. It's a CP something. And when they're getting in contact with you on that, 9 times out of 10 is maybe some missing information. They're going through doing an assessment on their end of what they're saying should have been reported. It's going to have several pages on there that you're able to look through to actually see the forms that the information that you filed, and it's also going to have the information they've received in the IRS from what forms they're looking for. Don't
Mm-hmm.
panic. I say to people, if you have a question about it, you can contact us on that. I say first contact the IRS. You can contact them on the call. I know people say it's hard to get through to them. They have definitely up their
Improve.
staffing.
Yeah.
I have actually experienced that myself in calling in. I can tell you right now, it may take about 30 minutes to an hour. I always tell people, put it on speaker and stay on that line. I know that they will tell you, oh, give us the number, they'll call you back. I don't never, I haven't experienced the call back. I won't say that they won't call you back, but just know that you have to be a lot diligent and have to call back in, and you will have to wait. But I may not have to wait as long because they have received the funding to up they're trying to improve their customer service. But do know what ends up. You receive a notice, make sure you pay attention to those notices. Because when you receive one, they're going to give you about 30 days to respond back, or they're going to have a date up there where they want to hear back from you. And do know that if you need more time to get that information, make sure you be in contact with them. When you call in, they're going to give their agent number. Write the agent number down, the date down. When you're speaking with them, make sure they documenting these things on your records so that it's already there. So then they can say, okay, this person needs to have an additional 30 days. So this doesn't go into something talking about another notice. And then the next thing you know, it's added on some other headaches that you just don't want to deal with. So I would have to say to avoid anxiety, don't ignore any notifications you receive from the state or from the IRS. But just make sure, though, do keep in mind, make sure you have all your documents. Because one thing we run into is people are so ready to get through it and complete the tax organizer and just give us the information. And then we find that it's not all the information because they're trying to get the tax professional to start preparing a return and then be able to tell them something. We can't effectively or professionally give you any information until we have all of your tax information, until we have
Correct.
all your tax, records. So just
Correct.
keep that in mind, because if you leave off any information, the IRS is coming back and say you've missed this document. You don't want that. Any errors, any omissions would delay the processing of your tax return. If you're expecting a refund back, it would delay your tax return. State
Let's
and
put a pin. Let's
federal
put a
and
pin right there. Let's put a pin right there. Let's
yeah.
put a pin right there because I'm going to circle back to what you just said, because you said something that's super important, that's standard, that's across the industry, but we handle it. We handle it very differently for the reasons that you just noted, right? But really quick, we're gonna have to
Wrap it up.
no. We're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. We got to pay a bill, right? So we got to talk about our sponsor. One of our
Okay.
sponsors here today is BYOB. Be Your Own Bookkeeper, brought to you as a subsidiary program here at Able CPA. We utilize accounting software to get you set up, to get you onboarded and implemented, connecting all of the technologies that you use back to your accounting software. We provide training, we provide support, and you can do it. You can be your own bookkeeper with the support of our Hayward CPA support team and training team, accounting team. Thank you. Now back to the regular scheduled program. Now I wanted to bring up a point that you brought up, tax organizer, right? So we use technology is a good thing, and this is why we use technology.
Yeah.
So we have a process when you come on as a client that you get an email with a tax organizer, and it's set up specifically to walk you through the pieces of information that we need to extract from you in order to provide a accurate tax return prior to filing. And in that tax organizer, there's questions, there's scenarios, there's opportunities for you to check a box, yes or no, check an option, whatever that option is, and or put in any comments and reach out for help. The reason for this is, and I think most people don't realize, They think that, hey, I have my tax documents. I'm going to send it to you. Can you get it done for me within whatever type of period? And along with the anxiety of what we were just talking about, there's the anxiety of them not having the patience to allow the tax professionals to do what they need to do, right? And so this is another key importance to why we do what we do here at the firm and how we help our clients to actually get themselves a foundation set. Because most times people that come to us that are a little off the soft ground under their feet, if you work with us through the process, you'll have a foundation, a solid foundation, so you can carry forward, right? So to the point that Nicole was saying, tax organizer, collecting the right information. Because if we don't have the accurate information, if there's mathematical errors, if something is missing, if there's any errors or omissions, that's going to be a stop, right? So we're intangibly saying these things, but it turns into a tangible situation that can be a problem. And so that's why I kind of wanted to go back and reset the table for our listeners, Nicole, so they can understand where you are in the part of the conversation that we were
Absolutely.
talking about.
Absolutely. And know that the tax organizer is not to make the onboarding or to start more stressful than what it needs to be. What it is giving us a picture and letting us know of any tax. If you are a returning client, it's letting us know if you had any tax changes to your status or anything during the prior year. It's also allowing us to be able to have the most updated information for you as it concerns your tax filings and maybe your status. It may also be some other information that we need to know. You may have more dependents. You may have some things that change. You may have a new business. You may have ended one business, started another. You may have honestly had some other things going on within the year that we need to know about. And that we need to be able to be clear on. And not only that, with technology, we're definitely a forward moving firm, so we definitely have the pipeline, which we use as far as our tax organizer, which not only that, after you finish asking those questions, guess what? We are able to be very clients to be able to actually have a summary list at the end that actually provides them with the forms they need, just in case that you're thinking, oh, I didn't even think about that form, about what I did. And you may have answered the question that actually triggers you to have a list of the forms that you need. Not only that, we actually take the time to make sure if you are a new client, we take the time to look through your prior year tax returns and compare to the information you're actually providing us, with us possibly being the first year you're actually working with us, to make sure we are receiving everything you have, because we're able to look back through and see what type of things you have reported on your prior year return. So that's what we do in our review, as what our tax professionals do, and making sure that we're covering all bases if possible. And just also know that that is very important. It's very important throughout that. It's very important as far as meeting deadlines. And we know that we are coming up on those deadlines too. I will actually have to put out there as far as the business returns when we're talking about our S corps and our partnership returns. We're coming up on the deadline, which is March the 15th. And then we have our individual tax deadlines that's coming up on April 15th. So we're definitely at a prime time right now. If you're trying to file by that deadline, to keep in mind, whether you're working with us or anyone else, to give your tax professionals time to review your information and for you to get that information in. And if you're having any problems, I would have to say too, do know that you can file an extension. If you don't have everything, do know that you can file an extension for your business returns. That extension will allow you to September the 15th to be able to file. If you are filing individual need an extension, it gives you to October. It doesn't mean that you have to wait until those particular dates, but let's just say it's some information that you're waiting on. You want to make sure that you have to report something just to get something in, and something, if something comes up, always know you can always amend your returns. You can always amend your returns. Okay, so just keep that in mind. But we want to make sure, and you want to make sure that we're off the gate, that we are definitely have all the information, we're able to file it, and then you're able to go on about your way. I will also add, Corey, unless you have something to say on that right there.
No, I mean, just gather all your information. Gather all your documentation. This is the time now. Definitely set
This is
some
the time.
deadlines, on your
Absolutely.
for yourself, right? So say, okay, if I'm missing documentation, I need to have this within a week, right?
Yes,
I need to let me set a deadline. Let me set it on my calendar because life happens, and
absolutely.
I think a lot of people think, oh, I sent you this information, just go ahead and do it. But no, we're missing this information. Oh, I completely forgot. Well, now it's okay. Well, I need to get it done, right? So, well, how do we get it done and we don't have all the correct information? Because
Right.
once you don't provide information, and that's just not for us, that's for any taxpayer, CPA, accountant, the process actually halts and you go back to the end of the line, right? And so
Absolutely.
so be mindful of that, right? This is
Yeah.
just it's important information to know.
Yeah. And I want to add
Um,
too.
mhm.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Corey.
No, you're good. Go ahead. It's your
Yeah.
floor.
I just want to add too, just as a recap on information. If you're an individual filer with no business, you may have some itemized deductions. Make sure you have, just for example, just to reiterate, your mortgage statements, your charitable contributions, some property taxes that you're paying. Also, make sure that you have the documents from these charitable organizations that you are wanting to claim that information for. Also, make sure you have your W-2s as stated. Any type of stock, any type of trading, especially cryptocurrency and all of that. Make sure you use Coinbase and different um, third party information and sources out there that you're using to be able to provide that information so that we're able to report that as well. Also, keep in mind that for Schedule Cs for your businesses, make sure that you do have books. I know a lot of people may start off and they're using an Excel worksheet and they're keeping up with the income and expenses. Make sure that's detailed. Make sure you have your businesses information and stuff definitely on hand, and make sure you're able to validate that. If you have rental property, so to speak, make sure that if you are using a property manager, that management company will be able to provide you with an annual property report that you would provide to your tax professionals to help assist you on that. Or if you're keeping up that with yourself, make sure that your expenses for each one of your properties are able to account for each one of those as well as far as the income and the expenses. And I just also want to draw into the point because I know everyone comes down to, let's say you find out that you feel like you're going to owe or tax. What can I do in 2024? I feel to better prepare for the next tax season because right now, hey, 2023 has already happened. I already know I have these, may have taxes that you may owe or maybe you don't. I would actually emphasize the matter of actually meeting with the professional, and we do offer these services as far as tax planning. Some people feel like, I don't feel like I'd probably need tax planning. Well, maybe you do. It may be an overview just for you to look at what you have. We have run into some people where I would actually say that you may want to consider it. People say, well, I'm working and I'm doing all of this and I still owe every year. I don't know why, you know what I mean, or what's going on. So you may want to do a tax planning session with us or with your tax professional to find out just where you are and where you can possibly change things. We're right here at the beginning of the year as far as whether, for example, if it's withholdings from your W-2s, or definitely if your income has significantly increased over the course of one year to the next. You're receiving commissions and bonuses and all of that. You have a lot of moving pieces, when it comes to the selling of property. And especially when it comes to selling of rental homes compared to your primary residence, capital gains come into place if you're talking about a secondary. I don't want to get all high into that, but if it's your primary home and you sell it, you pretty much get to keep that money. It's not taxed. What do I do with that money? If you honestly run into actually earning more income than you ever have before, or just a little bit of whatever, a tax planning session would be great just to give you an overview in one meeting alone. And do know that
Correct.
you can come back quarterly
Correct.
because some people income changes during the year, especially if it's business owners. It may be more at the beginning or it may fluctuate. You may need some more advisement. But I just say that for your tax planning, as far as just having an ear or being able just to throw some ideas off of someone to kind of get a broader picture of what it is you're doing. You know what I mean? Because there's nothing wrong with asking questions. There's nothing wrong with getting some great information or advice from some trusted sources to be able to get you on the right track. And do know that here at this firm, if there's anything that we're not able to help assist you with, we have a great network where we're able to tap into those resources to be able to help assist you even more. And
Correct.
there's some great things out there. And it's just a matter of being able to be patient, take your time with it. Make sure you have all your documents. Make sure you know that okay, this is a year that I'm getting ready to just review everything. And also one more thing, when you receive your tax return and you have questions about it, a lot of times a lot of taxpayers just want to know, do I owe or am I getting a refund? And that's it. And there are no other questions in there. And sometimes that may be you, but sometimes you may want to understand why you owe. You need to understand, if you get money back, do keep in mind the IRS is not giving you money. That's money that you've earned.
Correct.
I
Correct.
mean, or valid deductions or whatever it is on your return for your specific tax situation as to why. And you want to
Here's
know,
another caveat too. I'm
yeah,
gonna jump like I just want to dart right in between what
absolutely.
you're saying, right? The owe they owe me or I owe them is the mass picture, right? How many this is a vague question, right? But think about it like this. People make mistakes, systems make mistakes too. There's a lot of money that the IRS owe people. And if you only are concerned about what you owe and what you don't owe, and not looking at how it's constructed with the structure of your life in regards to your tax returns, you'll leave a lot of money on the table. Excuse me. I ran across, or we've ran across people that that has gotten money back from the IRS, possibly amending a tax return. Um, 2 to 3 to 4 or 5 years later, and you get money back. It's not a ever occurring event, but it does happen. So I just wanted to slip that in there too, just to kind of broaden the thought process.
Right. And that may honestly be a case too where someone has either number one, haven't filed, or when they have filed, it's a matter of, well, let's go back and review your prior year tax returns just to see if there's something that was missed or something that we will be able to see and to just take an assessment and evaluation to see if there's any other things that probably weren't considered within those years. And let's keep in mind, it does not mean that the prior person prepared your tax return incorrectly. It may be a matter of some information or some new things that have come in the horizon that
Correct.
is able to better help assist you in that matter. You know what I mean? Or in that current year, let's say you may found some losses that may be able to be carried back or what have you, but just keep that in mind. And that's another great point too, Corey, when it goes into tax planning, because that's another thing that we would definitely do in tax planning is probably look back at some prior years. I think sometimes we don't think about it because once it's gone and done, that we're on to the next. But that's a great point to bring up that you can go back and have someone assess and look at those prior years just to see, just what was there just to be considered. But that's a great point. Um, yeah.
Nice, nice. A lot of good jewels being dropped here. Um, Great information, Nicole. Great information. Don't forget, as Nicole stated, we're in tax season, so definitely reach out. You can go to haywardcpa.com and schedule a free consultation.
One more point.
Right? Go ahead.
One more
Shoot.
point to everybody. I want to make sure if you haven't already, you can go to the irs.gov website and set up your own personal account. I emphasize that to every taxpayer because you're able to pull up your information. You're able to see the filings out there have been filed that you have filed. If you need your transcript, if you need any type of that information, guess what? On that account, you're able to pull that information, your wage information, your transcripts. And if you make payments, you're able to do that online and be able to see that being processed. So you're able to have your account. I also emphasize too, if the IRS has assigned you a PIN number, because what's happening now is a lot of taxpayers are being assigned PIN numbers because of the identity theft and the things that are going on. And so what happens with us is when we're getting ready to file your tax returns, if we're trying to file it and it comes back rejected, it's telling us that you have a PIN. A lot of times these PIN numbers are actually being mailed to you. So make sure you pay attention in your mailing, because sometimes you may have possibly tossed it or what have you. IRS.gov will actually walk you through in case you think you had a PIN number or not. But just make sure that you're able to verify that. I just want to put that out there, Corey, for you close this out.
No, nice plug. Well, listen, now we're gonna pay another bill. Hayward CPA offers tax liability alerts. If your anxiety is built up based off of what Nicole just explained, going to irs.gov and filling out and getting this information, yes, you should still do that. But again, reach out to us. We have an alert system that we can provide you as a service, right? And it'll keep you updated and informed as well. All right, so you can go to haywardcpa.com again and click on to schedule a free consultation. So you can get the understanding of how we work with you, and we can get some information from you to see if how we can help you makes sense. Okay, Nicole, great stuff here today.
Right.
This is great stuff. This is the time of the year, really. So let me back up for a minute. Like October, November, December, that's like the quiet time a little bit. The extension of the October, September, October 15th deadline. Holiday comes in, it's a little cold outside. That's usually the perfect time where you start to wind down, close out what you did for that year, and then plan on for the next year, right? But this first quarter of every year is always a good time for planning. Now, we are limited in slots for planning, but you can get on the list. Right, we do a lot of planning after the main deadline, April 15th deadline, but we're limited. We still have some open spots open, but you can get on the list. So again, haywardcpa.com, fill out your consultation. You're on YouTube, go down. Please subscribe. Please like this episode. Please. Send it to you. Share it with your network, with your friends, with your family. Leave us some questions and some comments as well. YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, I believe, Twitter as well, right? Leave us some questions, because we're big on questions. We're big on comments. Oh, matter of fact, we still, when James come back, we're still going to announce who the winner was for the question or the topic that was mentioned in the comments in our previous episodes. And let's go see who wins a gift card. But that's still going on throughout the year, by the way. So if we happen to talk about your comment, your question, and it's something really good, and we decided that's what we're going to go with, we will get you a gift card. You'll want a gift card for that, okay? So we haven't forgotten about that. So please send in all your questions, send in all your concerns, all your thoughts. And again, haywardcpa.com for any free consultations as well, okay? Nicole, this has been great.
Yes,
Normally, James and I kicking the can down the road and holding each other back and see who could kick the can first. And you watched us, and we have a good time and have a lot of good fun. But this is this is something that is important. This is something that we wanted to lead with, especially at the beginning of the tax season, and kind of just give people the opportunity to release some of that angst and some of that pressure. And
absolutely.
If you don't come to us, when you go to it, if you have a tax professional accountant, ask these questions. Allow them the opportunity to explain it, right? The squeaky wheel gets the oil, basically. If you don't ask questions, you won't get the answer, right? And don't let your anxiety stop you. Again, it's a commonplace thing, so we're not dismissing it at all. But just reach out to whoever it is, again, or you can schedule a call with us. Nicole, I want to thank you for taking the time on your Saturday. I know you talk with us all week. You're doing work and messing with clients all week, but you took this today to come and jump on with me and give some solid information for the tax season. So I thank you for that. And we're going to have you back again as well. Right. So again, please check us out, haywardcpa.com. You know, we have the BYOB program, we have tax planning, we have the tax liability alert, and also we have biz therapy for our business owners. We can get you right in biz therapy. We help to coach the clients to win. What is winning? Winning is just completing. If you have a task or a project, just complete it. That's a win. Small wins equals big wins. We're not talking about the overall win. You can only guarantee your own success and winning overall, but we're gonna help you win on the small things, set you up, get you right. Biz therapy. Okay. So just wanted to say peace. We chuck up the deuces, Nicole. This is what we do on a Saturday call. We go deuces. Peace. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Okay.
Right.
Take care, everyone.
All right. Take care, everybody. Have a great tax season.